It's time for the show that brings the magic right to your speakers. Ears up!
Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. It's another adaptable. I don't know where I was going with that. I was gonna say.
I think you're going for addition.
Yeah.
No?
No, something to start with an A. Maybe awesome and spectacular.
Huh.
I don't know. Who knows? I'll tell you what. This intro is redactable. Oh, not good.
Should be retracted.
Retractable.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is Ears Up, and today's show is going to be pretty interesting. I think we stumbled upon it kind of by accident, Taren. It's your show.
Uh-huh.
And you're going to talk about the history of the Partners statue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who thought it had a history?
Apparently you. Yeah.
I found one.
How did you figure this out?
Gosh, I can't remember. It was literally only like 3 days ago, but this has been a really long week.
Yeah. That's the same amount of days.
I don't remember. I think I was just thinking about like the stuff that we do history on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we've done so many rides, we've done so many lands. Like, what's something different but also the same? I'm like, the partner statue.
Gosh.
Perfect.
You did think a lot about
Don't
that.
ask me questions.
And apparently it takes you 3 days to come up with an answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is still not quite there.
No.
Still not there yet, but we're trying. Well, that's okay. That's cool. It's interesting. You know, I don't know. I mean, we focus on a lot of the obvious stuff, but I feel like the partner statue I would never have imagined. I think you were reading some random thing, and you're like, did you know that the partner statue hasn't been there the whole time? Like, well, I knew that somewhere, but I didn't really know it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I guess that's kind of pretty much what piqued my interest is how young it is. But we'll
Yeah.
get to that.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Before we get to that, though, find us on iTunes, rate us on iTunes, and then, listen to us wherever you listen to us. All that kind of stuff. Whatever. I don't know. I need a new intro. After 3 years of doing this one, I'm over it now.
We should look back and see how many times you've said that.
Have fun. I remember when we tried to start an archive where we're like, hey, let's go back and listen to like 5 shows.
We got through about 12.
And write down, I think we got 25. It was about, we hit our 20 show mark, and I was like, we're going to need to go back and like pull audio. It's at some point, I'm sure.
Right.
No, we got to like 25 and we're like, oh, this is great. And then it didn't happen. So if anybody wants to be our archivist, the pay is non-existent. But I'll
God
give
bless.
you unlimited cover-years.
There you go.
If you want to go back and, basically we just need to know like stuff like that.
Yeah, like honestly, I would like to do some sort of game at the 100th episode where
Yes.
it's like, who said this kind of thing.
Yes, I agree.
But ain't nobody got time for that.
No,
Or maybe somebody does. It's just not me.
it's definitely not me either.
Just wonder like how many things you and I say that are just gonna get.
Oh yeah,
Which one of them said that?
doesn't matter.
It literally doesn't matter.
That's true.
It's the same.
We're all over social media. I think we're almost at 1,000 people liking our Facebook page, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's not bad. 894. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's been flatlining around there for a little bit, but hey man,
Tell your friends.
Whatever. Tell your friends, hey, like this page, and then I don't know what. Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, probably. I'm sure. If you have feedback for the show, that goes to Taren at earsup-podcast.com. As Bev shakes her head very, very slyly.
It's been a while since Pinterest has been
Yeah, I figured.
Pinteresting.
She just
That's
said,
all right.
what's Pinterest? What is that thing?
Is that still around?
I don't know. What is it?
That was Bev's job, in case you guys didn't understand.
It has. I'll get back on it. I'll jump right back on that horse.
Yeah, it's Tumblr.
You go
now.
through phases with
Yeah.
Pinterest.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I've seen everything on Pinterest. So you have to give it like a month. And then you go back and you're
Or 5.
or 5.
Good to know.
Bev,
No, it hasn't been that
Bev
bad.
is fired again.
Right.
Second time fired
Second
tonight.
time tonight.
You're on a roll. Call you Butter. Because you're on a roll.
No, I got it.
Easy, hungry.
Oh my gosh.
Any compliments for whatever? If you want to compliment the environment or compliment your boss's shoes, send that email to Terrence, TERRENCE, at earsup-podcast.com. You can say
Hi.
to Bev at the aforementioned URL, and anything else goes to me, Jason, at whatever.
Nothing goes to me.
Nothing, literally
I
nothing.
I said feedback goes to Taryn.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Yeah,
I didn't hear
but
it
you
either.
guys were like chit-chatting sign language or something at each other.
I don't even know.
Yeah. Weirdos. Don't forget, we do have a blog. We just posted Beverly's review of the 3 Caballeros, or what is it, the 9 Carboneras?
It's the
16
Carbonaras.
carbonaras.
It's the 5 carburetors.
That's the Cars tie-in.
Oh yes.
Welcome to the 5 carburetors.
Right.
It's it's a few paragraphs long, and it's very Bev. It says that I wrote it, like I published it, but it's
Right.
not really me. It's really Bev. And we do have a comment on that. We'll read that during feedback. Are you ready for that, Beverly?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. And then, so that is a part of our animated classics review, where we're going back. The point of that, we're going back through the animated classics, feature length, full releases only, right? Because that's all that really matters. Just to see if they stand the test of time. I know, are we really passionate about these things after 50, 60 years because they were good, or because they were cool, or because of neither?
It's nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's nostalgia.
Just why people think Disneyland's better than DCA. Now go on.
That's okay.
So I did want to comment on that. I had a work function this past week, and at the work function we had a speaker who he's like a professor, and he's like the first person that did an entire college course on the history of Disneyland.
Oh wow.
So of course I wanted to go. I was really excited about it. He didn't really teach anything that I didn't already know, which was kind of cool because I was like, wow,
Yeah.
we know a lot of stuff.
Right.
Wow, smart.
But at the end of the thing, he has a book, and I got it signed, and I told him, I was like, and it's actually for you, Terrence, and I told him, I was like, this is for my friend Terrence. He's part of the podcast. I was like, actually, he's the only person I know that thinks DCA is better than Disneyland. And he stopped writing, and he looked up, and he went, you should go back and let him know that a college professor, a doctor, is telling him that he's wrong.
Whatever.
Hey, 9 out of 10 doctors agree.
I don't know you.
Terrence
doc.
is wrong.
Yeah.
What are you, a foot doctor? I mean, come on.
Exactly.
Jeez, who cares?
The podiatrist told me that I'm wrong. Whatever.
But we already have our next animated classics review lined up, and it is Terrence. Terrence is going to do it.
Yes, I
What
am.
movie are you doing, Terrence?
I'm doing Song of the South.
Song of the South.
Ooh,
Is it plural? Is it
boy.
Songs of the South, or is it Song of the South?
It's just
one
song.
It's one song.
It's just one long.
Because there's like
song.
vignettes. It's like little
Yeah.
things.
The
Yeah.
whole South singing one song.
Yeah.
And it's not released anymore, but you have a copy. I found a copy online too.
yeah.
I've seen that. I've tried to watch that a few times. For me, it's very boring.
Yeah.
Very boring.
I don't think I'm going to enjoy it, but I think
Yeah.
it'll be a good blog post.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. That's all I can say. is
I
we'll see.
kind of think that it will be the most. I don't know if I remember what I remember correctly about the Brer Rabbit cartoons. I think they're the most entertaining.
Right.
Whatever. I don't know. I think they were funny. I remember
Okay.
laughing about it because I was reading the book as a kid.
Right,
Like,
right.
follow along, and when the page turns,
Yes.
or when the chimes ring like this, you turn the
You
page.
turn the page, yeah.
Those little, the very, very distilled version of
Yes.
that
yes.
movie. So yeah, you just hold your hands out. Right. This gag is really good for radio. I just want you to
I know.
you guys are doing really great.
We're not. This isn't for radio. We're just communicating.
Yeah.
I'm sure you. Help me, Sam. You can support Ears Up through our Amazon link. Do our shopping via Amazon. Go to our website, Amazon thing. Click it. Speaking of websites, Taren has revamped the website, so let us
it
know how you
looks
think
good.
about
It
that.
does
Looks
look
pretty
good.
good. right?
Thanks. It's not done, but it's. I think it's better.
Yeah. You
Getting
can also
there.
sign up for reoccurring donations via PayPal, or better yet, go through Patreon. Go to patreon.com/earsup. That's Patreon, and sign up for a reoccurring thing there. And that way, actually get some stuff back. I mean, you people on PayPal, we love you to death. Don't worry about it. You're fine over there because it's less work for us. But if you want something back other than a show, because you are kind of paying for the show, we'll give you little stuff. So go over there to patreon.com/earsup. Check out all the weird things that we have to give to you at various levels, or you can just donate randomly through Patreon as well. You don't need to actually choose a reward. You go to Coveyears, go to getcoveyears.com, and support us. Go buy Coveyears.
Those. Can we mention the Coveyears that you?
Yeah,
Yeah, they
sure.
were on Twitter.
Dope. No,
Yeah.
it was one that said "I love churros," and then the other cover was a scanned picture of me holding 417 churros. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, go to either our our Twitter account on Coviers or Ears Up. I retweeted it from Ears Up. But go to Coviers, give it some love. And you can see a picture of what Terrence is talking about. Yeah, we're working on our sublimation printer stuff. It's slow going, but eventually we're going to be able to do fully custom Coviers, so that'll be fun too. Speaking of Patreon, so our details of our 100th show. Our tickets will be available soon. I know I've said that before, but I'm trying to figure out if anybody's going to no, I'm over that. I know people are going to go, but I'm trying to figure out like the best entertainment to provide you guys for the price that I'm going to have to charge you guys. Because of the rental of the space and all that kind of stuff. So that's the only reason. That's the only thing that's really holding us back is just what we can do. So we've talked about it before. We're going to do a little raffle, and we're going to have some live games. Terrence and we need to work on that soon. And I think that the cool thing that we added is each person who attends will get a goodie bag with treats and special niceties and stuff like that. I don't really know what it is yet.
That's cool.
Probably some buttons or whatever. It's not going to be super like great and like
No, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome, but don't expect like
You're not going to need to file a tax claim on it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, that's true.
So-
No, not everybody's getting a car.
It's not the Grammys.
Right. You get a car.
It's not Oprah.
You get a car. Everyone gets a car.
I need to go to Oprah.
For real.
I think I'd be upset because you have to pay taxes on it. You're like, really? You just cost me $6,000, Oprah. Thanks.
Sell the car, and then you make back your money.
Is that how it works?
And then you buy a less nice car. And you have the money to pay for it.
Yeah. So if you sign up for Patreon supporters, and I won't say when because I don't know when the tickets are going to be announced, but we're going to hit you, the Patreon supporters and the PayPal reoccurring donors first with ticket information. And then the general public will get their chance 24 hours later to get tickets to the 100th show. And again, that's November 11th at Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen. 11th?
11th, yes, 11/11.
I think it's going to be a good time. So be sure to sign up for Patreon, and you get your first run at those tickets. And it's a limited ticket amount. I think it's going to be limited to 50 tickets. So
And that's including children.
that's including children. That's correct.
Guess
No.
mine can't come.
Well, you have too many. You can pick one.
If we have 50 tickets, including children, we only have 12 tickets then.
We're going to be doing a show for your
38
family.
kids.
That's what it is. Yeah. 101 Dalmatians. Speaking of updates, I don't know. D23. So last show we announced that we are going to be at D23 as Coviers. That is no longer happening.
Whoopsies.
I applied. Excuse me. I applied to go. I applied for us to go, and I got an email back saying that we were rejected because our product encroaches upon Disney, and I was like, what are you talking about? So I found this lady's number and I called her. She was actually very nice, and she explained that there are three levels. So whenever she gets the, let's say we churro shirts, I want to sell churro shirts at the thing. Well, I guess why am I using an analogy?
Yeah.
I sent in Coviers. I actually did the thing. I don't need an analogy for the story because it's literally the
Exactly.
I'm
It's
really
the thing.
I'm really awesome. Yeah.
It's fine.
So I sent in the Coviers application, and she kicks it up to 3 different departments, and it's like theme park merchandise, legal, and something else. I forget what it is. And she goes, I've never had all 3 departments reject anybody before
Wow.
as quickly as they did with yours.
Wow.
And I was like, why? She said basically they're looking at Coviers as preventing Disney from selling more ear hats.
And the answer is yes.
And the answer is sort of, yeah.
It is.
So I had to think
Yeah.
on my feet real fast. I was like, well, we're actually getting a lot of people email us saying that they're buying more hats because of the thing. And she goes, I don't know. I can't really do it. She couldn't do anything about it.
Right.
So that was disappointing because we literally been planning this for 2 years.
Yeah.
And we missed 2 years because it's every other year, right? We missed 2015's. By like a month.
Yeah.
And it was
It's a
really
bummer.
disappointing. But, look, they got to look out for themselves. I understand that. We've been talking maybe about going just to go.
Right.
A few of us here on the show, but I don't know if that's going to happen either. Are you still thinking about going?
Yeah. If you guys go, yeah, I'd be happy to go. It's already Well, it's already a plan. I'm already planning on it. So.
But see, we'd have to like just go as people,
No,
like
I know.
Yeah.
buy tickets
We were
to the
talking about
thing.
seeing
and-
about media. We'll see if we can get in for that as the podcast.
I can email
but
this lady. Well, if we don't go, would you still go?
If we don't go,
Like
to
if Taren and
D20
I don't go.
would I go to D23?
Yeah, without us.
Little nerdy kid walking around.
Yeah.
No.
All right. All
That's
right.
No.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say because
Maybe because I'd be by myself. So maybe.
right, because if you go, I can give you the recorder
Yeah.
and a microphone, and you
Right.
can actually like do some audio.
Maybe.
Okay.
Let's not
I mean,
let-
don't
talk
get, don't
about
get him wrong. Like we want to go.
No, I understand.
It's just got a
It's-
lot of expenses.
It's
coming
not in the
up.
cards
Yes, we
right
do.
now, so we'll see.
see.
I don't know. I mean, it might even be really hard to get tickets, but anyway, we'll see. So that's your D23 update. Covier's rejected in record time, by the way, which oddly enough, I'm kind of proud of.
Yeah.
I know.
Kind of.
Like,
Well, they
we did
obviously
the-
got noticed.
Yeah, we did the best at being the
The
least
worst.
applicable or whatever, the least
Right.
wanted
Right.
in the whole room.
Well, I'm glad that we got rejected because that means that I want to say
They're a
we'll
little
see-
bit afraid.
Yeah, but hopefully this means that they'll be like, hey, maybe we should buy them out.
That would be amazing. Well,
That'd be great.
Great.
I did talk to her, and I was like, well, maybe you can pass my information along because this is a
Right.
hard nut to crack, trying to figure that out. And she goes, you
Right.
know what? She goes, I'll do that only because you've been so nice. She goes, you'd be surprised at how many people yell at me. And it's not. I have no choice on the matter. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude. I was like, front-facing customer service people
Mm-hmm.
deserve all the patience that you can muster at any given
Absolutely.
time because it's not your fault. And then I hung up the phone and screamed at her. What are you doing? You're ruining my life. Speaking of ruining my life.
Wow. So this morning I'm taking my daily multivitamin, right? And I decide to look at the bottle. And I'm like, okay, what am I actually taking? And
How long have you been taking the multivitamin?
oh god, since September.
And you're just now
August.
figuring out you should probably know what you're taking?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, please.
It's multivitamin. It's supposed to be good for you, right? So I pop it in my mouth, I drink my water, and then I look at the bottle and I'm like, it has like 100% of like 25 things. And I'm like, I mean, the pill is like the size of like a pincher bug. Like what?
Of a pill.
Well, it's a pretty large pill, but still, like, how is it possible that all of those vitamins are fitting in that tiny little thing? Like, I kind of think I'm being scammed. Like, I just don't think that it's possible. I know I'm not like a chemist, but come on.
Not like a chemist.
Next time you're taking your vitamin, look at it and be like, really? 100% of B12, B6, A, C, D, D20, all of it?
D20.
E40, all those vitamins.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I might even not take them anymore.
Oh.
I missed that segment. Sam's impressed.
Sam's like, yeah,
And he lives with me.
I thought the same thing.
Scam.
Sam is Beverly's husband, for those of you who don't.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The
The guy that took his shirt off on Space Mountain as
That's
it was
true.
going.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
And then
We've
put
t-
it back
we've told
on
that
before
story
it was
before,
over.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we
Yeah, yeah.
It was a
it's-
while ago.
It's getting harder and harder since our show families are intertwining with one
Right.
another. Like I don't know who knows what stories.
Right.
True.
That's a good. That's
It's a good thought, right?
Yeah, that's a good. My favorite part about it. Well, I had two favorite parts. One is that you're just now deciding to figure out what you're taking, and then you called yourself not like a chemist. I'm not like a chemist. Huh. Yeah. All right.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. It's just so funny.
Let's do some feedback, Taren. What do you think?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to do the feedback because you are going to do the show, and that's a lot of talking for Taren.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
All right.
You guys don't want to hear all that.
No. So this one is from Matthew, and he says, "Good day, Jason." Good day, Matthew. I have 2 questions. When will the next show be online? I can't wait. I don't remember when you sent this. There has been a show posted a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, so check that out. The one that I'm currently talking to you on will be posted on Monday, but you won't know about it until it's posted, so it's going to be posted. I can never answer your question, I think.
Well, why don't you just say we post them every other Monday? Or that's the goal.
Because I like my version better.
Oh, okay,
where
sorry.
like it's in perpetually behind. Like I can never answer his question because every time I'm addressing him, he won't know about it until he listens to the show when it's posted.
Got it.
I'm smart too.
You know what that was?
A good story.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, do you think my email was lost in the void when you were having email trouble? I thought it was, but then we actually, Taren reminded me we talked about whatever you had sent in. So no, we got you. I emailed you last month from the website, just like I am now. I have some nice positive feedback. A burn on Terrence for loving DCA more and a hi Bev.
Hi.
We had that last time.
Yeah, we did.
We read that, so that's pretty cool. Great show. You guys are like good friends I have never met. So I appreciate
Those
that.
are the best kind.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Good friends you never see. Sometimes that's better too.
This is a comment on our food options in Disneyland post from January 2014. Sometimes I like reading these things.
Okay.
Wow.
They say, I'm laughing hysterically at Greg's map comment. I concur. So Gloves must have been in the studio at one point, and I forget what map comment he said.
I remembered today. We couldn't figure out where something was, and he was like, you guys really need a map in the studio.
Oh,
yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Because we're really stupid.
Flashback to Bev. Bev, how far away is Star Wars Land from Toontown?
Wait, from
Tomorrowland
Toontown?
or wherever.
It's
I don't know.
right there. It's right next to
It's
it.
right
Just build
next
a
to it.
tunnel.
He
here
says,
we go.
I concur, but I wasn't. I was just
Okay,
because
because I was trying
really
to.
asking.
I was actually. Keep going.
Okay, thank you. But you probably added one since then. Yes, we've definitely added a few shows since then. He says, one day you guys will get the Rancho del Zocalo Restaurante name right. I only did it because you wrote it out, so thank you very much. Appreciate that. He says, I love character dining. I don't have kids, but it's the best way to meet the characters. There you go. Storyteller and Plaza Inn are the best character dining things. Used to be Goofy's Kitchen, but with their latest update, they have limited the characters that are in there. That's good to know. Went to ESPN last time we were there because it was the only place to open past 11 on a Monday.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. The portions were quite hefty. I don't think I dented the nachos at all. Mega nachos or whatever. Mega dope shows.
Mega dope shows.
Yeah, that's right. And all the TVs had a good range of sports, so I got to watch hockey. Yeah.
Yes. ESPN Zone is my pick. Besides Ralph Brennan's, of course,
Yes.
is my pick.
Ralph
in,
Brennan's Jazz Kitchen,
Jazz
located
Kitchen.
in downtown
Jazz
Disney.
That's my pick in downtown Disney. So good. So good.
And he says, last thing, because this comment is way too long, we went on a family trip in 2015, and my sister has some allergies, which we were worried about. Just like Taren said, no problem at all. The chefs would come out and walk her through the buffet or menu options. If anyone had issues, it wasn't her, but it was the picky eater in our group.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good to know.
Cool.
This is our friend Jimmy Hunt. He says, hello again. Let me start by saying Kyle needs to be a regular segment along with Spectro Jeremy. He was awesome.
Agree.
I agree as well. The problem with Kyle is that he won't. He'll just be like, yeah, I'll just talk about whatever. All right, well, I don't know the things that you know, so like I have to hit him with emails, and then he sends out this entire outline.
Amazing outline.
And then I go, yeah, that's great. He goes, oh, I was just spitballing. Keep it up. You did amazing. So it can't be a regular segment, but I do want to have him back because that guy worked for Disney for a while, and yeah, he has some good.
he knows a lot, and
some
he's
good
willing
stuff.
to talk, which is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Next, I wanted to share some recent happenings at Walt Disney World for my most recent trip with the family last week. And I'm sharing this unsolicited information as I believe the below has yet been introduced to either park in Anaheim and inevitably will be to some extent. Okay, this may also give you some cool insights for your 18 trip and or what to avoid. Well, that's cool. I like park updates. That's you know, and it's good to get a Walt Disney World flair in here every now and then. So apologize, Jimmy. This is a little trimmed down. You gave us a lot of info. Number one, annual pass holder entrance. I know you mentioned it in a recent podcast, but I wanted to share the experience. We did not use it. Remember, this is relatively new for Disney World, and it's the thing we've been begging Disneyland for forever. Right. They had longer lines there than in the standard queues. I suspect the reason is that only one section of the turnstiles was open in the AP line versus the half dozen open lanes for the norms. P.S. on this one, I only saw the AP entrance lanes at Epcot, where they are arguably the least necessary. Yeah, I would agree with that. Not a lot of people going to Epcot. You don't need separate entrances. Disney World Express Transportation, arguably the coolest new addition if you have the audacity to buy a park hopper. That was a dig on Blobber. We talked about this too. You can pay for express transport. If you have tickets with the park hopper option or an annual pass, unlimited transfers between all 4 theme parks.
I didn't really understand this.
Yeah, we had talked about it before. So basically you pay, it's like extra $10 or something like that. And Bev, you were like, I'm all about it. I'm not trying to walk or whatever.
But like
Remember
it's
that?
different than the.
I think so.
Is
Maybe
it
not. Maybe
different
it was
than the
Terrence.
bus?
That was
It was
Terrence.
Terrence.
I thought it was dumb. I was like, come on.
It's different than the buses, I think. I think it's just a separate thing where you pay money and they get you to the places faster than like going through the loop of all the buses. I don't
know
really
where my mind was when we talked about this, but that sounds awesome.
But
Having been there?
But you're paying 10 extra, 15 extra bucks to do it
Okay.
per day.
But you saw how terrible the
It wasn't really that bad. It was bad, but it wasn't really that bad. It was really bad just trying to get to downtown Disney from Epcot. Because there's no direct transport there. You have to go to a hotel, and then a bus broke down, and so we had to wait extra long time. And then the line was so full that the bus that came didn't fit everybody in. It was kind of a big mess.
That's true.
Rivers of Light. Jimmy says this was craptastic. This is a new nighttime spectacular at Animal Kingdom. I'm usually a Disney Parks apologist, but this is sincerely crap. I'm not convinced they didn't buy the show and tech from Six Flags. I don't know. We should probably just put this on the... No, it's almost done. Pirate Adventure. This is a much cooler variation on the Sorcerer thing, but much more robust and interactive. It's limited to Adventureland, and you can follow 5 quests to seek various treasures. I like quests. Gamer, why not? The best part is if you complete 2 quests, you automatically get a fast pass to Pirates.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
You do this little game, and out of 5, if you get 2 of them, you get a fast pass. I think that's totally worth it.
Just real quick, because Jimmy's in the
cool.
the chat. He said that you are taken in a van and they actually take you into the park inside of the gates.
Oh wow!
For that extra $10 to $15 a day. So
Okay.
it does. It
Might be
really
worth
does
it.
seem worth it to me.
I did miss this one. Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. This is Disney's answer to Harry Potter Land. Children of all ages are invited to use their spells to defeat Hades and his cast of villains from taking over the Magic Kingdom. Throughout the park, there are scores of hidden locations. We are invited on various quests by Merlin to track down evildoers and save the Magic Kingdom. Well, that's cool. And he says, well, I don't know. I don't want to read that. I'll email you, Jimmy. Yeah, okay. That's feedback. Oh, let's talk about, thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate that. That was cool. So Bev had a comment on her 18 Carboneros post. This is from Nina.
It's a lot of carbs.
All of them are delicious.
While I completely understand the viewpoint of, wow, this movie is a crazy, noisy mess, which is pretty much what Bev called it, I have come to appreciate it and would love for others to do so as well. I think when it's put into the context of the reasons for its creation, along with Saludos Amigos, which we covered previously, as a goodwill introduction to South America for many in the U.S. that had not or would never travel to the areas featured, it's kind of cool. I'd always loved the Las Posadas scene the most, and after realizing that the artwork was completed by Mary Blair, I loved it even more. She was sent to South America to gather inspiration for the art of both these movies, and I believe did some side jobs as well. I read somewhere that the styles she used were part of the reasoning for Disney pulling her back to help with the creation of Small World for the World's Fair. There are also some cool cultural connections. One of the women featured is the sister of the famous Carmen Miranda. Many of the songs as well had some long-standing traditions in the respective countries. Before writing this, I fell into a Googling pit and now have a crazy amount of trivia facts about the movie, but I'll leave it at that. So yes, mostly crazy and loud, but you gotta just love it a bit. Smiley face. Please forgive me for typos. It was written quickly from my phone on the way to bed. on the way to bed. Thank you, Nina. There you go.
There you go. What?
Nothing.
Okay.
Just, you seemed like you wanted to say something extra, and then you
Nope.
stopped. Okay.
I appreciate that she wants to appreciate it.
Yeah.
I
So
guess.
the things that she said, like the cool trivia that you don't.
No, I
doesn't
think
matter
I think
to you.
it's cool that everything that she talked about I think is cool.
Yeah.
I don't think any of that information makes that movie not be terrible.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah, for sure. You didn't like that movie. I need to watch it. I'll probably maybe I'll try to watch it tomorrow.
Terrence is
Yeah, Sam
vehemently shaking his head at you.
Yeah, but you guys are saying no, and Sam's saying yes. So I think
Do you
I'm
remember the
follow
songs
Sam.
that Sam just made you listen to before the show?
No problemo.
No problemo. If you have a problem and you need a limo,
Call 1-800
no
no problemo.
All right. I do remember
I really
that.
hope someone listening calls that.
Or at least Googles it and watches that disaster.
Please don't.
And then write a review about it.
Yes. Okay, Taren, are you ready for the History of the Partners statue?
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
Take it away.
Will do. Okay, so probably the most shocking part of the History of the Partner statue is actually when it was created. So that's where I'll start. To all the baby boomers, Gen X and Y, and actually probably even most millennials that are listening, you've probably visited the park before this statue existed. If you're like me, you probably feel really, really old hearing that. For such an icon in the park, it's really hard to imagine that it was only erected 24 years ago in 1993. Learning the young age of the statue is really what made me want to do this show. Because most of the history that we talk about on this show and most of the history of Disneyland was really happened many years before anybody in this room was even alive.
Right.
So, let alone even visiting Disneyland, actually. So to have a monument that's so recognizable by pretty much any Disney fan that was actually created within my lifetime was fascinating in and of itself.
Yeah.
But I figured that there had to be some sort of story behind it, and there definitely is. So the year is 1984. Michael Eisner has just come on board as CEO of the Disney Company. He's full of ideas and believes that he has the creativity to push the Disney Company in a new and exciting direction. I'm not going to go into this too much more about Michael Eisner, but I will say that in just the very tiny amount that I looked up about him and this, I cannot wait to do the History of the Disney Company Part 4, because it's pretty much going to be the Eisner years, and
Yeah.
I think there's a
Terrible
lot to
years.
talk about.
Terrible years.
Well, you'll get a little taste of it today. Anyway, so he loves to experiment, and one of his overarching goals as this new CEO, he's trying to prove himself, is to push attendance at the theme parks. He has plans for new attractions at the park, but as we all know, construction projects can take a very long time. And so he wanted to come up with something quicker, something that was a little bit more short-term, like short-term campaigns that could drive attendance in the interim. So one example of these events was called Blast to the Past. It was an event that consisted of a new parade with 50s tunes and attire, a Main Street hop that featured original entertainers from the 50s and 60s, an Elvis impersonator, and lots and lots and lots and lots of confetti.
You gotta have Elvis impersonator. You have to.
Yeah, it's true.
50s.
It's the king.
And
That was terrible.
yeah, what did you say? Oh,
It's
he's
the
the king.
It's the king.
It's okay.
It's the king, bear.
Thank you very much.
No.
It's getting better.
Peanut butter and banana sandwich, bear.
Turn your own microphone off. Good job. Yeah.
It doesn't work so well if I turn my mic off. It doesn't work as well.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, along with these things, part of this Main Street hop is they had 5 enormous jukeboxes that would just like kind of parade down Main Street, but then stop, and then people would dance around them. And they were huge, larger than life jukeboxes. On a side note, there was also during this event a hula hoop contest,
Oh yeah.
which actually resulted in the world's record for the most persons hula hooping at one time in one location. 1,527 people.
Okay. Has that since been broken?
I don't know. I don't.
I'm gonna look it up for you.
Okay, you go ahead and look that up. I didn't go that far. I thought it was weird enough as it is. So this was a several-week event, and during it, in addition to the parade and the Main Street hop and the hula hoop contest, there was also a larger-than-life jukebox in the Main Street Square. So I tried desperately to find a photo of this. I couldn't really find one that showed exactly where it was, but I believe that it was where the pumpkin would be today. Like the giant pumpkin or the Christmas tree. That's where I think it would have been.
Okay.
Huge thing. So big that it had a stage on top with a DJ on the bottom.
Wow.
So when you walk in, there was no chance of seeing the castle.
No, and nobody likes that. Just as a side note, I'm trying to research hula hoop. There's a lot of record holders for hula hoops. Apparently, there's also 2 record holders, USA. So go USA for hula hooping underwater.
What?
That's
that
not
possible?
possible.
That's not possible.
2 minutes 38 seconds.
What?
Ashrita Furman, she has both records. 2 minutes 20 seconds. 2 minutes 38.
We gotta go swimming. I gotta try this.
Oh,
I
of
wonder
course
if
you
it's
do.
Weighted.
Hard
It has
pass.
to be
Is it
weighted.
a weighted? Yeah, it has to be a weighted.
Right,
hula.
because the thing would float.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, sorry. Continue, please. Oh yeah.
No.
The physics just don't seem like they work. But go on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that was one of these events that Mr. Michael Eisner came up with to bring attendance, and it worked, honestly. Another one was called Circus Fantasy.
Oh gosh.
And it is honestly just as awful as the name. So imagine a circus with animals and trapeze artists and daredevils and gravity-defying giant cage where motorcycles spun around and around and upside down. And basically in the hub where the partner statue stands today,
Yeah.
that's where this big giant ball of death is, where the motorcycles go. And again, totally blocking any sort of chance of a view of the castle.
And loud.
And loud and like elephants, like circus. It was a circus at Disneyland. Like, I'm sorry, Disneyland
No.
has enough.
I hate clowns. No.
Oh yeah, there is a lot of clowns.
No,
like
no,
it was
no,
a
no.
legitimate circus. Like I actually if you YouTube the commercial for it, it kind of gives you the whole thing. It's not good. So those were Eisner's ideas, and Imagineers were not really happy with Eisner's creativity. Marty Schuyler.
What?
Yeah, right? But they're such good ideas. Marty Schuyler and John Hench were especially upset that Walt's intended focal point of the park, the castle, was being continually obstructed. That was
Right.
one of their main kind of stop doing these things. And more of these events were in the planning stages, and they appeared to be getting bigger and bolder.
Right.
And so the thought around Imagineering was that after only 20 years since Walt's passing, he was being forgotten. The new generation of kids never saw him on TV. They didn't know who he was and probably didn't really care.
No, they don't care.
No, and his legacy would end up being completely forgotten if not commemorated.
Right.
Yeah.
And so their idea was to build a statue. It took a bit, but eventually Eisner agreed that a statue would help promote the brand.
This guy. This is also the same guy that was in charge of Disney when DCA opened and it was horrible.
Yeah.
This guy.
Right.
He's just.
I'm
full
really
of bad
judgy of this
ideas.
guy, and I haven't even done any research on him. But
Well, I mean, it's, Walt didn't come from a CEO point of view. He came with what's best for the park, and I think
Right.
with a park that size, and you're a CEO, and
Right.
you're coming from another company, you're thinking of what's best for the company is best for the park.
I get it. But oh man. that guy
Yeah,
was
that's the thing. Like,
horrible,
you can
though.
think about it and you go, yeah, okay,
No, it
that makes sense. You can
it
logic it out and go, oh, totally makes sense. But I mean, it's cool, but it's a weird way. It's a weird way to approach putting a statue up or anywhere.
Right.
Oh, it's brand reinforcement.
Yeah.
Cool, buddy.
All right, bud.
Yeah,
there's just another way to state that, like you can agree with it and go, no, that's a great idea, Imagineers.
right.
Not and keep it in the back of your head, like,
Right.
no, this is great for branding. You don't have to say it.
Right.
Anyway, so Eisner eventually agreed. The Disney family, and especially Lillian, Walt's wife, they had been against the idea of a statue of Walt ever being built. They did not like this idea. And I did as much as I could to find information on how they eventually got her on board specifically, because she was like, never, never, never. But I couldn't find anything. Eventually they must have, because I know they didn't do it without her consent. There's just no way. But they were just against it. They didn't like the idea, I think. I don't know. There had been a few we'll get there.
Okay.
But yeah, they just didn't like the idea. But eventually, somehow they got on board and they moved forward. So Marty Schuyler, who was really pushing for this statue, was really good friends with retired figure sculptor and Imagineer and Disney legend Blaine Gibson.
Marty Sklar.
You're right,
Okay.
Marty Sklar.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just checked it. I was
Okay.
like, is it Skylar?
Yeah, I wrote Schuyler the whole time, so I'm gonna keep saying that, and I apologize.
That's all right.
It's Sklar.
Don't worry about it.
Yes.
Terrence, can I talk to you outside? I'm joking.
Get the press room ready.
Oh, geez, I hate the press room.
'Cause I think he's still alive. We can call him up. Oh,
Marty
we
Sklar?
should
Yeah.
try to book him.
No, I did a window. I did his window.
Yeah.
We should try to book him,
he's
and
not
then
dead.
the last segment is Taren apologizing for butchering his name.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
He'll be
boy.
like, I don't understand.
Yeah, he's 83.
All right, go ahead, Taren. Sorry.
So he was really good friends with Disney legend Blaine Gibson, who we've also done a window of. But we need to back up here for a second and talk about Blaine Gibson's relationship with Walt. So back in 1962,
Ooh, sounds racy.
it's not. Yeah, it does. It's not. Back in 1962, the WED supervisor, Richard Irvine, who, by the way, was Kim Irvine's father-in-law, convinced Gibson to sculpt a bust of Walt Disney and give it to him as a thank you gift. Blaine worked on this project at night outside of his normal business hours. He wasn't, particularly excited about the project. He didn't hate it or anything, but, he wasn't super stoked. And he was having trouble making it look the way he wanted. But he gave the final product to Walt anyway. Upon receiving the gift, our dear Uncle Walt said, "What am I going to do with this? Statues are for dead people." Not exactly the response that Blaine Gibson was looking for. But anyway, the bust was kept at WED and then sent to Retlaw and eventually made its way back to Gibson's own garage. Supposedly, he couldn't bring himself to destroy it, but did a sketch of a cartoon depicting himself sculpting the bust with Walt off to the side saying, "That dummy thinks it looks like me."
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Clearly, he has
That dummy.
Yeah, he has a sense of humor about it. So anyway, back to the early 90s. Marty Sklar and the retired Blaine Gibson are friends.
Okay.
At Marty's suggestion, Blaine spent some of his retirement sculpting bronze statues, and one day Marty called up Blaine and asked if he'd be interested in creating a bronze statue of Walt holding Mickey's hand. That is not true. I didn't mean to write that. A bronze statue of Walt. Let's stop there.
Okay.
So Blaine started sketching, and he didn't like to oversketch because you can't really sketch a 2D thing that's going to be 3D. So he sketched a little bit, and he got a little excited about it. He wanted to show Walt as he had been in 1954, when he believed that Walt was in his prime. He admits to struggling with the two personas of Walt, however, in kind of creating this statue. There was the public persona that everybody knew and would be expecting. The guy that was on TV, the guy that was,
Right.
that everybody knew.
Uncle Walt.
Uncle Walt. But Blaine knew the real Walt, the one behind the curtain, the businessman, the artist.
The scotch drinking smoker.
Chain smoker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So his goal was to really capture both of these personas in the one guy.
Wouldn't that be great if he just was like pointing to the future, but it had a lit cigarette in one
his
hand
head.
and a low ball of scotch in the other?
That'd be amazing.
Oh, the scotch is just sitting on Mickey's head.
That'd be good.
Here, hold this.
Yeah. So, as with any project, there were many, many ideas for this statue because, of course, Imagineering's involved. And one of these was Mickey kind of running ahead and pulling Walt along, holding his hand and pulling him along. Another one was Walt.
I don't like that so much.
Yeah, it didn't get chosen.
Yeah.
They actually didn't go with that one because they kind of. I'm not going to say that. Never mind. I may be confusing my things. Anyway, another one. Well, I don't want to give out false information. I don't want hate mail.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Another one was.
I haven't sent you hate mail in a long time. Don't bring it up.
Another idea for the statue was Walt holding a set of Epcot blueprints.
Eh.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
another one that was actually Marty Sklar's idea was to have Walt waving at the crowd, open hand wave, because he never really liked the idea of Walt pointing.
But you can't do the open hand wave because it just looks
Stupid.
Yeah, well, it looks
If you're not moving, it looks weird.
you're just your hands up in the air.
Yeah.
It does kind of.
So little.
It's
It's
weird.
not really appropriate.
It's not really appropriate.
I mean, it would have to be like super flared out, or like.
Hi, welcome.
Hi.
I mean, it should be just an animatronic where it's just spinning slowly on a pedestal and just doing this.
With
Yeah.
this frozen head on top
So
as well. It'd be
actually,
fantastic.
I didn't put this in here, but Blaine Gibson said that in some interview at some point that Walt could never be an animatronic because he had too many facial expressions. Where that's the reason that it works for Abraham Lincoln, because didn't really have that many. He's kind of just
far
the
as
guy.
we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
He could have been an expert at
Well,
pulling
that's true.
faces. You have
Well,
no
in the
idea.
vampire movie, he moved his face a lot, but whatever.
But
But he
with
doesn't move on my pennies at all.
No.
yeah.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Yeah. What's a penny? Anyway, go ahead.
But with Walt, he doesn't see that ever being a viable option.
Right.
But anyway, I didn't put that in, but now I'm glad I remember it. In many of the versions of the statue, Mickey was actually holding an ice cream cone. But this was eventually scrapped because they didn't want it to look like they were favoring any one vendor over another, like Nestle or Carnation. Excuse me. And they felt that Mickey seemed too immature holding a ice cream cone.
Okay.
The young mouse that hangs out with children is too immature. I thought that was a little weird, but
Yeah.
I get it.
He's
I
an
get it
adult.
somehow.
He has his own house.
He's an adult.
For God's
Well,
sake.
I guess that's true. And a
Yeah.
House and
girlfriend.
car and a woman.
Yeah.
And a woman.
That's a man. That's a mouse.
That's a mouse.
right
It's
there.
not a mouse. It's a mouse.
Oh, dear heavens.
Okay, moving on. So working with bronze, you can't really capture color, but it was really important to Blaine to give Walt colors, particularly with his hair, which was still dark, and with his eyes. Gibson decided to tilt the statue back ever so slightly so that it would capture a shadow that would create that kind of color.
Okay.
And
So
sort
like
of that
like
texture.
a dual tone, or more
Yeah.
than more than just the bronze tone in the sunlight.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I should remind you at this point that I am specifically, this is on the Disneyland statue. This is not on any of the other ones.
Right.
Okay.
And speaking to that, they did end up using different colors at Walt Disney World. They were able to, by that point, they could use certain chemicals to change the bronze coloring. And I believe they used different metals, but I can't promise that.
Okay.
But anyway,
I know
if you
that
ever see it,
Mickey's pants, I think, are gold.
Yeah,
They're
or
golden,
they at
and
least
everything,
look gold.
Yeah, and everything else is bronze, if I remember
no,
correctly.
like parts of Walt are different colors too.
Oh,
They're
okay.
It's just a little bit more subtle.
Yeah, it should have been hypercolor.
Yes.
You know,
Touch.
you go touch it, and your handprint
Would be
stays there. It
amazing.
would have been amazing, right?
No,
I am
that's-
shocked that hasn't come back
That
yet.
is
It tried.
Really?
redonkulous.
Yeah, it tried. Well, I mean, it wasn't hypercolor, the height of hypercolor, like 93, 94 anyways.
Yeah.
They could have totally done that technology. I'm disappointed.
So
You are the worst.
Actually, what I want, I want Ghostbusters 3 to be where they shrink down, the Ghostbusters shrink down, and then to fight more evil slime, they go inside the partner statue and hose it down.
oh jeez.
Wow.
And so Walt comes to life and does things. That's what I want
But
Ghostbusters 3 to be.
do you want it to be women or men?
I don't care as
Ghostbusters.
long as it makes me laugh.
Did you see the new one?
No,
Yeah.
because I saw the ads and it didn't make me laugh.
Exactly.
All right, go ahead, please.
So moving on, the final figure was actually larger than life Walt. He was standing 6'5" tall, and Walt was actually only 5'10".
Shorty.
Shut up.
So that was Walt's portion of the statue. Mickey is a whole other story. No one up to this point had really thought about how tall Mickey Mouse was, the cartoon of Mickey Mouse, and
Sure.
if he were in real life, how tall would he be?
Right.
Now they had to think about it. According to animator Frank Thomas, Mickey's size was determined while animating the Disney short The Pointer from 1939. They were having a tough time while they were animating this film, staging one of the scenes, so they asked Walt to voice Mickey, and they filmed him doing so. And so while they were doing this, Walt made various hand gestures as he was kind of acting out Mickey in this scene. And at one point in the short, Mickey says, but you know who I am, right? I'm Mickey Mouse. And when Walt read that line, he put his hand out about 3 feet high. So he's like, oh, I'm Mickey Mouse, you know? And that was literally the only recorded thing showing how tall Walt thought Mickey was. So they went with that.
I guess, what do you do? I mean, you look at like Steamboat Willie or the other cartoons, but how
Yeah, but there's no comparison between
There's no
humans.
humans
the
in
entire
it.
world
Right.
is a smaller world.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that they had to even think about that. But then there was the matter of the hand holding. Many hours were spent discussing how a 5-fingered Walt would hold the hands of a 4-fingered Mickey. So
Not interlocking fingers. It should be
it's the complex things that you never think about because Imagineers, they have
Right.
degrees, right?
yeah, exactly.
You're sitting around debating how a 5-fingered person can hold a 4-fingered. I mean,
for
whatever.
many hours.
Yeah, I know.
I just want that job so bad.
That would be something I would love to do. Debate just the minutia of things that don't matter.
Yeah.
But I guess they do.
Those details.
Yeah.
So there's a part of Jason's favorite movie, Fantasia.
Love it.
And I think it's at the end, but to be honest with you, I've always fallen asleep, so I can't promise. But
Me too. Me too, bro.
where the conductor, Leopold Strakowski, shakes hands with Mickey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they use that moment as the model for Walt and Mickey holding hands because that's the only time Mickey's ever touched a human.
Yeah.
So,
Weird.
right?
That's like
Like, where do they pull this stuff out from?
It seems. I mean, it seems weird, right, to us because that's not our world, right? But
Right.
but to them, it matters, and
They're
and
hyper
that-
focused on that
Right.
one
yeah,
thing.
yeah. This is
That
super
guy's job is the
fantasy.
hands.
They're
What do we
literally
do?
turning fantasy into reality. Like
Right.
literally, that kind of came to life, and now is an actual thing. And you got to get it right. You got to make it look right. There's no sense in doing it in another way. So,
Well, especially this is a statue of Walt and Mickey. Like, is there
Right.
anything more important to Disneyland?
No, there's not.
Like, you can't get it wrong.
yeah.
You're right.
But I wish they did, just to see like the nexus of the fingers intertwining and being weird, and you're like, I don't know what's happening there. That looks weird.
It would have been awesome if Walt was like 6'5" and Mickey was like 9'7" or something like that.
Oh boy. So then on the subject of hands, on the statue, Walt is, of course, doing the famous Disney 2-fingered point. He's seen actually making this similar gesture in many photos from the 1950s during the construction of Disneyland. And there's actually really good evidence out there that this particular gesture, the 2-fingered point that we all know, was at least partially developed because of how Walt was seen pointing during this construction. And oftentimes, however, he was making this gesture because he had a cigarette in his hand, just like what you said. The photos that are on the internet have since been completely photoshopped. So he's
Yeah.
still doing this, but there's no cigarette there.
I've read that before, where they've gone back and literally edited out his cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually I wouldn't put something like this in because it's rumor, but there's literally photos side by side, and you're like, oh, yeah, no, they actually did it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they did.
yeah. I've also read that they did the 2-finger point just because they don't like to point.
Right.
They thought it was
was
incorrect.
impolite.
It was
And
rude.
actually, now that I
Impolite,
remember
sorry.
that in that Disney Vault book with the guy who runs the archives, he said that that's not true. That it's literally just because pointing is rude, and so 2 fingers is better.
Right.
Yes.
But
However, that's the other. I mean, this is a statue.
yeah.
If pointing is so rude, why is Walt pointing with 1 finger or 2? You know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah.
where I kind of would argue with that.
Well, I
like,
think it's pointing to the future, to a non-existent thing. I don't know.
well, I'll get there, but
yeah.
um,
I mean, you're right. It's a valid point.
I mean,
But
Point.
couldn't it just be more of like a gesture, right?
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a little interesting. I mean, I guess we're never gonna know
No, there's no way to know. It's all
the,
theory.
the exact
Unfreeze
truth.
that
but-
head.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Hey, you.
So then, speaking of the pointing,
Yeah.
what is he pointing to?
Right.
There's several rumors out there. One that Walt is pointing toward Epcot because that would have been his next project. Okay, first of all, that's stupid. And if he was pointing at Epcot, he would have to be pointing towards Space Mountain. So the whole statue would have to be moved. Like,
well, they're right next door to each other, so it's fine.
yeah. I already looked it up, Terrence. I had to like zoom all the way out from.
Okay. I was trying to figure out. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no. So like he would be pointing towards Space Mountain if he was pointing toward Florida.
So he's pointing south. Sorry, he's pointing south at that point. Is what you're saying
then?
And then if he was pointing towards Space Valley,
Disneyland's pointing north, or in Disneyland he's pointing north, right?
he would be pointing south.
No,
'cause if
he's
he had a
pointing.
point
He's pointing
towards Space
south.
Mountain, then
Is he
he'd be
pointing towards the
east.
castle, or is he pointing towards
No,
the
he's
entrance?
pointing
He's pointing
toward-
towards
The entrance.
The main
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's south.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
So
I don't know. I don't spend my time staring at statues.
the
That's what
theory.
museums are for.
I don't know north from south. What?
Right.
Oh no, I didn't either. Google Maps.
They're very close together.
And by the way, Google
what I hear.
Maps does not have a key, like a compass thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I really hope that's just north. Like I have to just assume. And then I zoomed all the way out and I was like,
It
totally
is.
north.
Yes.
Nailed it.
In general, they orient maps.
I figured.
Okay.
But you know, I've learned on this show
There's no judgment from me. You know that.
rumors. You can't take things at rumors. So
No, you can't. I
don't
appreciate
know.
that. I appreciate
I don't know,
that.
whatever. So anyway, that rumor is really stupid and not true. Another one is that at Walt Disney World, Walt is pointing toward his brother Roy's statue, which is on Main Street, and Roy is sitting with Minnie Mouse. And the thought is that Walt is telling Mickey to go sit with them because he has to move on with the company without him.
What?
Who thought of
right?
that? That's horrible.
Like super creepy, weird. No.
That is horrible. I gotta go now, Mickey.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
let me go, Mickey.
You go sit over
Save
there.
yourself, Mickey. Now I just think of it in like a war context. Go, save yourself.
We leave no Walt behind.
I mean,
What in the world?
I don't know where
I
people
mean,
come up with this
who
stuff. It's
thought of
terrible.
that? That's terrible.
I want to know the specific person that
I
thought
do
of that,
too.
and I want to interview them and be like,
No, there's
what
like
is-
several people that think this. And it's because the Roy statue, I don't remember seeing it at Disney World, but I've seen it at when we went to Imagineering,
Yeah.
and they have the same one there. And so it's like,
Way to slip that in, by the way.
yeah, no, I know, super cool. So Roy is sitting right next to Minnie, and they're like really close. And then there's a space on the bench where a person can sit and take a photo.
Okay.
That's what the space is there for. Let's
Okay.
be just totally real. It's not so that there's room for Mickey to sit down
Right.
and leave Walt over there.
When Walt lets him go.
Right.
Yeah, I
like,
know.
I'm
he
sorry.
releases him
It's time
and
for
goes
you
on
to
his
leave now.
Just
the next
So weird, man.
not okay.
journey. What?
So this is like an actual
There's an actual
like
rumor.
theory that people think
That's
currently.
ridiculous.
That's
Currently.
obscene. Absurd, not obscene.
Yeah.
It's both,
It's
actually.
both.
Let's be
So
honest.
then, according to Blaine Gibson, you know, the guy that made the statue,
Yeah,
Right,
that guy.
right. Yeah.
the true reason that Walt is pointing down Main Street and he's sharing with Mickey his joy at seeing all the happy people who came to visit them today.
That makes sense.
That makes perfect sense and
Yeah.
kind of a duh. And that's also why he's pointing towards the entrance and not the castle.
It's also a lot less morbid.
For
Yeah,
sure.
no.
Hey kids, you see where he's pointing? That's because he's dying.
Yeah.
Huh.
See that hand gesture he's making? There should be a cigarette there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't smoke, kids.
Yeah.
Mickey, go sit over there with Roy because I see the light. Gotta go now.
Terrible. I know.
Okay.
I know, right?
Bye.
Yeah.
Gosh.
See you next time.
So stupid.
Well, guess I won't.
On the cartoon. I'm here forever.
Hey, gone.
Uncle Roy, what is death?
Oh, jeez.
Well, Mickey, it's like when your reel runs out in real life. Oh gosh,
Oh, dear.
that sucks.
We should probably move on.
All right.
So up to this point, we've talked about Mickey's height,
horrible.
the hand holding, the point, but there are a few other details on the statue that you may not notice unless you look closely.
All right. Cigarette burns and on Mickey's arm.
You smell Walt's mouth. It smells like scotch. That'd be awesome.
jeez.
Perpetual scotch smelling statue.
Yeah.
Disney is good with scents.
It's like soaring over California, soaring over Walt's mouth.
Oh my
The
goodness.
imprint of a pack of cigarettes in his back pocket.
Wow, and we think everybody else is morbid.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, that's it.
Okay. Other things to notice, aside from what you guys have already mentioned, on Walt's tie are the initials STR. And what this is actually a pin from his vacation home in Palm Springs called the Smoke Tree Ranch. It was a pin that he wore on his tie often. So, of course, it would be on his statue. Also, I wanted to note that on Walt's right hand is an Irish claddagh ring. I had to spell it out because I'm not Irish.
You don't speak Gaelic?
I don't.
It's too bad.
Gallic.
Walt purchased him and his wife these rings on a trip to Ireland in 1948, and both of them wore them in addition to their traditional wedding rings. So he is wearing that on the statue as well.
I've never taken the time to look at his
Me either.
His hands there.
Had no idea.
Or his tie. I wouldn't even know he was wearing a tie.
Yeah, that's true. So the statue's built. The year's 1993, and it just so happens to be Mickey Mouse's birthday.
Oh.
So on November 17th, Disney threw a very large party called Mickey's Worldwide Kids Party. This is actually kind of cool.
It sounds terrible.
I know.
What's the terrible name?
It is terrible, but this is the 90s, and this is Michael Eisner. Let's not forget. But the idea itself is cool. This was basically a group of 7,000 children from all over the world, many of whom didn't even own a pair of shoes. Mm-hmm. They were provided shoes.
Thank God. Well, that concrete gets really hot, and they don't want to be open to a lawsuit.
They were provided shoes and clothing where needed.
Where needed.
You guys.
This was not supposed to be funny.
This isn't funny.
It's not funny, haha. It's funny as in how ridiculous. Clothing as needed. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
I'm in a grass skirt and shells. No, here, put on this sweatshirt. I mean, why doesn't ever like in my mind I'd be like, let's give all the kids just new clothes just because.
Right.
They all get the same T-shirt.
Yeah, like
Everybody gets a T-shirt.
but this one has holes in it. It's fine.
Well, let's also remember, I wrote this. So
is that why it's worded that way?
She has a good
I
point.
don't remember.
Okay, that's fine.
They were also flown to Anaheim, and this is where they celebrated with food, games, cartoons, and of course, character meet and greets.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, these children were Mickey's guests of honor at the official unveiling of the statue at the Hub on November 18th, 1993, Mickey's birthday.
That's nice.
Yeah, the statue was then rededicated in 2001 on what would have been Walt's 100th birthday.
That's nice. I like that. I like that a lot.
And that, my friends, is the not-so-short history of the partner statue.
All right. Good job, Taren. You did good.
Thanks.
That was great.
I mean, there's
actually.
more than you thought, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot of
And
stuff.
I never actually go there and like do the thing and like take the picture in front of that. I've never taken a picture in front of it because there's always people there, and I'm like, ugh.
I hate people.
I want to talk about.
right?
I want to talk about the angle trick where like if you're on a certain side of the partner statue.
Yeah, I didn't add that.
But I don't know if it's appropriate.
I don't think it is.
I don't know what you're talking
We
about.
can talk about it on the Secret Show.
Yeah, Sam knows.
Is it inappropriate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well
it's a little
then-
inappropriate.
Of course Sam knows, and I have no idea.
If you're on the let me see if I can do it. If you're on the side that is just Walt and not Mickey, and then you like so your back is to Adventureland, I think is what it is, and you're facing Tomorrowland.
Terrence Googled it.
Yeah, then it looks like Mickey is at waist level, and so is his nose, and then that's all you got to deal with. Okay, how about some news?
Yes.
March in the past, present, and future with all the news that's fit to cover. It's the Ears Up Disney News.
All right. Let's see. Disney gives opening details for Avatar and Star Wars lands, which we talked about this on the last show with Kyle, the Imagineer, and then he was saying, I think afterwards, or maybe it was before, he was kind of complaining about like, oh yeah, there's no way Star Wars Land's going to be done in 2018.
Yeah.
Well, that got pushed back. The Walt Disney World will open Pandora, the world of Avatar, on May 27th, while its 14-acre Star Wars land will debut in 2019.
Yep.
Where is Avatar Land
It's going
going?
to be in
Disney World,
Oh,
Hollywood
okay.
Studios, I think.
No. The King. Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom, right. Let's see. Bob Iger told analysts that the Avatar land at Disney's Animal Kingdom has an extremely unique design and architecture. It really does make you feel like you're in Pandora. How do you know, Bob? Have you been to Pandora?
To find the
Ask jaded podcaster Jason Petros.
to find the unobtainium. Best name ever.
Yeah, the unobtainium Jiminy Christmas. The area will be the biggest new land we've opened in Florida in a very long time. He said, I think that's good for the whole business down there.
I honestly think
Good
it's going
quote.
to flop so hard.
The original
Avatar?
movie came out in 2009, but several sequels are planned
Exactly.
beginning in 2018. So
That's
they're
why I
kind
know.
of they're doing
9
that
years
ramp.
later,
10 year-
when
yeah.
no one cares.
Yeah, I don't know,
I never
man.
saw the first one.
It's still
Me
one
either.
of the best, one of the highest grossing movies of all, if not the highest grossing movie
People
of all
were,
time.
if you remember, people in a few Asian countries were killing themselves. I think Koreans specifically, because they could not be in a world as beautiful as Avatar.
Yeah.
They were literally committing suicide over this movie.
Yeah,
It's gonna blow people away.
it is. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. But I agree. It seems like a weird thing to invest your money in. But they
Right.
have several. I think
Yep.
three other movies coming out.
Absolutely.
That they've kind of already shot, which is amazing. to me.
Literally everything that I have just thought about saying. There were like 4 comments that I almost made.
Yeah.
You're going to be happy to know that my filter is intact right now. So
Thank you. All right. Good job. So I don't know. There you go. Everything's delayed. Pretty much is what's
Weird.
happening. Speaking of Florida, Florida women sue Disney over people mover injury.
Oh my god.
Taren, you're gonna really enjoy this one because you've been on the people mover down
It's
there.
like the slowest ride ever. I mean, I
Right.
love it, but
Two sisters, Jamie Gentile and Jackie Hurley from South Florida, claim they were injured on the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover in Disney's Magic Kingdom in 2015 and are now suing Disney for more than $15,000.
That's it.
According to or more than, so maybe it's like 1550.
15.5.
Come on, yeah. According to the Orlando Sentinel, the lawsuit filed by the Orange Circuit Court claimed that the sisters were injured when, quote, the ride malfunctioned, causing the passenger cars to crash into one another. I thought that they were all in one track and they were just
Yeah.
kind of linked together, but apparently not. The People Mover is a slow-moving attraction. We already know that. It was inspired by the sister attraction in Disneyland that closed in 1995. Wah, wah. Disney has not commented on the issue, but if and when they respond, whatever. What they do know is Disney's operating guide says that all cast members working on the People Mover they spiel, they have their thing, right, that they say vehicle bumping may occur when attraction restarts after the ride stops.
Right.
Jeffrey Dahlman, the attorney for Jamie Gentile and
Jeffrey
Jackie
Dahmer?
Hurley, says says the two sisters are not able to comment, but they tasted great. No, the two sisters were transported to the hospital by ambulance.
Oh my gosh.
Listen to
That's
this.
so
Listen to this. The attorney claimed that Jamie Gentile injured her jaw, which required surgery. And Jackie Hurley had apparent spine and neck injuries, which also required surgery.
And they're suing for 15 grand.
no
More than.
way.
More 15.5. I'm sorry. I forgot.
So, what were you doing to injure your jaw and your back, and you need surgery on both? It makes no sense. Well,
makes no
I
sense.
mean, it's not like that thing lurches 5 feet ahead when it restarts. It's just it's a whatever. Maybe
Unless
it's a
they were
little
turned
jarring.
around
I would
or
love to see
something,
photos
and
of these
I don't
people.
know.
I know. What do you guys? It's weird. It's weird.
No. People are awful.
People are weird and awfully weird. Let's see. That's another Star Wars Land thing. Here's an interesting one out of Disneyland. The Disney Junior live stage show is ending at California Adventure as puppeteers negotiate pay raise.
Oh.
So the Disney Junior thing will close down. I believe it's in April.
They can't afford to give them a raise.
Apparently not. So a lot of that stuff you've seen it, right? You guys
Yeah, I
have seen it.
I've seen it.
I haven't actually.
But there's like a lot of puppets and stuff,
It
right?
is. It's a live action thing. You sit on the floor and they have like a makeshift stage in front of you, and then they have the puppets coming from behind.
Okay. In May 2015, a majority of the 30 puppeteers voted to join the American Guild of Variety Artists, which also represents live performers at the resort, such as singers and dancers. Soon after that guild filed an unfair labor practice complaint with the National Labor Relations Board, alleging that year Disney reduced their work hours and took other retaliatory actions, apparently for them joining a union. Disney wasn't happy. The complaint was settled, and Disney paid the puppeteers about $167,000 in back pay.
Wow.
But the two sides are still negotiating a 3-year contract for the puppeteers. They're still discussing wages. Disneyland has dug their heels in on a starting wage of $12 an hour. Assuming this is a 3-year contract, that means in 2019, the starting wage will be the same as California's state-mandated minimum wage.
Wait, they're trying to get
$12
$12
an hour?
No, they want more, but Disney is saying we're only going to pay you $12 an hour, and that's a contract for 3 years. So by the time the contract is up, you can get a job at McDonald's, or you can be a puppeteer in Disneyland. Like, it makes no sense.
That's crazy.
It makes no sense.
Well, also over the next 3 years, California's minimum wage is going up anyway, so they're going to have to pay them more.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're contracted.
That's
I think that's
Sometimes
yeah.
Disney sucks.
It's pretty weird, man. It's pretty weird. But anyway, so I think that ends in April sometime, and it's going to stall out until they can figure some stuff out. This is the most. Here, I'm not even going to read that. That's a
I
really
wouldn't even
boring
work
story.
for $12 an hour.
No.
Yeah.
Here's a cool story. Disney research demonstrates open-air wireless charging.
Oh.
They invented a new method of wirelessly charging mobile devices that could someday allow amusement park patrons to walk about freely while also getting their mobile devices charged, which freaks me out.
Yeah,
it does.
lots of cancer.
All the cancer.
Right? I want this to be tested for 50 years before it comes into
Yeah.
play. I mean, come on. The technology, which Disney has dubbed, quasi-static cavity resonance,
Yeah, that sounds
That's
healthy.
creepy.
enables purpose-built structures such as cabinets, rooms, and warehouses to generate quasi-static magnetic fields that safely deliver kilowatts of power to mobile receivers contained nearly anywhere within. Was really recently published, blah, blah, blah. An experimental demonstration showed that in a 16 by 16 room with a floor, ceiling, and walls made of painted aluminum, to be British for a second, sheet metal, the QSCR, thank you for the acronym, could deliver power to small coil receivers in nearly any position with 40 to 95% efficiency. Up to 1,900 watts of power can be transmitted safely between transmitters and a coil receiver and a mobile device. That's crazy to me. You just be hanging out.
I don't like it.
Or
I
you can
don't-
go into the room and then you just, like, your phone just charges.
Well, I don't like that for a lot of reasons. Like the billions of cancer being one of them.
Right.
But then again, it's why are you so attached to your phone?
Yeah, get off your phone, bro.
Well, Jason has to Pokemon.
Right. Well, I mean,
I Pokemon
Taren.
now, but that's
I
about
mean,
it.
there are things I understand.
This one goes back to, man, I wish Jeremy from Spectra was on here because our friend Childish Gambiani,
Gosh.
Gambino.
otherwise known as Donald Glover, he was recently cast as Lando Calrissian. Disney released its first cast photo for the new untitled Han Solo spin-off movie on Tuesday. The film is due for release date on May 25th, 2018. Woody Harrelson is co-starring in there.
Isn't it Han Solo?
Yeah.
What did I say?
Han.
I knew what you meant. That's why I didn't stop you.
Okay.
It's just us. It's fine.
Yeah. Han Solo. And then Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. According to Disney, the movie will explore Solo and Chewbacca's adventures before Star Wars: A New Hope. So there's one for the kid. What did Jeremy call him? Childish Bambino.
Bambino.
It's a Bambino.
Bambino.
Mario.
It's the Sultan of SWAT.
Get into the Millennium Falcon. And then in other Donald Glover news, Donald Glover and James Earl Jones have been cast in Disney's live-action The Lion King.
Amazing.
Listen to this pun. Donald Glover is going to be the main event in Disney's live-action version of The Lion King. Mane.
Dad joke.
Right? Glover has been cast as Simba. James Earl Jones will be playing Mufasa. Matthew Broderick and Jonathan Taylor Thomas, JTT, they both share the role of Simba in the animated film, but now it is Childish Gambino.
That a boy.
So that kid's putting in some work, some
Yeah,
Disney
he
work,
is,
man. Good job. That's the news.
It's good.
Cool.
It's not bad. Not a whole lot going on in the world of Disney things, but enough. Are we done? Did we do all of our stuff?
We did the things.
It's like the shortest show we've done in a while.
It's an
Yeah,
hour
it
and
is.
14 minutes.
I know.
That's probably true. I feel like there's updates and stuff, but I don't know. No D23. Become a Patreon supporter. I saw the so all you people who are I think it's the $12 and up to get the drawing. I saw the ones you guys are getting in the mail from Lulu. That's pretty awesome.
They're dope, dude.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you what they are, but they're really rad. You guys are gonna love them. I want to make them into a shirt.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it's
People
gonna be a
really
I think it's
like
gonna be a
that.
rad shirt. Yeah, I got a lot of work for Lulu. I got a lot of work for her. I finally found somebody that can like take my weird ideas and actually make them into reality. So
We're gonna have to
appreciate that.
pay for her carpal tunnel surgery at some point.
Yeah, for real.
Well, we should start negotiations at $12 an hour.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect.
Where do I sign? Where do I sign? Okay, well, I guess let's do the fact of the show and get out of here. All right. Disneyland does fireworks unlike any other theme park in the world. Launched backstage. Oh, battery low. Press enter. Okay, Jesus. Okay, I gotta hurt. Oh, it stopped. All right, well, hang on a second.
Sure didn't give you much warning.
It didn't give me much warning. It just friggin' stopped my recording. So.
Battery's low. Press it.
She gone.
God, but it's like still working. So why would you stop? All right, I'm just gonna hold on.
Live stream's still there.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
forget
live stream's
that.
still there. I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
But now I need to go back and figure out where it stopped.
And there was music. Ooh.
Ooh, that's right, dude.
Probably just start the music over again.
But I still don't. That doesn't help me.
Remix.
Just do one of the musics over the other.
Bricker.
Just play Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
No.
Brand new whip. Oh, no. You can play that song.
Hot like a parked car. Yeah, just talk amongst yourselves while I do this.
That's the plan.
Is it?
Whenever somebody says that, then suddenly there's nothing to talk about.
Say, yeah. Way to make
Bye,
things weird.
Sam.
Sam's out of here. You guys are amateur hour.
This show was different.
It was.
Yeah.
I am so
Is it
mad.
good or bad?
I don't know. We laughed a lot.
I think it was good.
I think it was
Somewhat inappropriately.
sausage.
What?
I'm really tired.
Me too, actually. I had a hard week. It's hot in here too.
It is a little warm in here. I'm also tired.
We're really good at filling time.
Banter.
I went to
You live stream people are getting a fucking show.
I went to I got to experience. I told you I experienced some of the Auburn nightlife.
Oh, yes.
I went to the same dive bar twice in one day.
Oh yeah, same people.
It's literally
Wait, in the same day?
In the same day.
Oh, you're like
How
a
many
local.
hours in between?
I went like 4.
What made you go back to the same dive bar?
Sam. I wanted to go to sleep.
Oh, okay.
He wanted to go meet his friend. But then his friend gave me a gold nugget, so.
He wanted to go meet the dude that he never met before.
No, we
that-
met him when we were there the first time.
So he wanted to go back to the dude that was hitting on you, trying to convince you that your husband was your brother.
Live stream's getting like the goods right now.
Yeah.
You guys getting all of this?
It was an interest. It was something. He was a nice man.
Okay.
Talking about William.
Right.
Sam
Glover
called
has
him
been
Billiam.
cast as Simba. Oh, that sounds
James
weird.
Earl Jones
I don't know why that sounds so weird.
Mufasa. Matthew Broderick.
Why does it
and
sound
Jonathan
weird?
Taylor Thomas, JTT, they both share the role of Simba
That's
and
gonna be
Why are they
now
making
it
live
is,
action movies for everything?
Well, especially one with animals.
Yeah, like did anybody watch
Hang
the?
on, hang on.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect.
Where do I sign? Where do I sign? Okay, well, I guess let's do the fact of the show and get. Oh, okay, just right there. God, why does that sound so terrible?
It does.
Jesus, criminy.
It's very tinny.
Yeah, I think I might have it at the wrong. I'm still trying to figure this out, but that's all right. We can pull the audio from live stream, assuming that sounds good. So stupid.
Wouldn't it be the same because it's coming from the same place or no?
No, because I think it's the input on the task cam. I think I changed a setting on there to try to get it to sync better with the computer, but whatever. So anyway, here we go. We're back. We're back at it. Let me find. That's dumb. Ugh, because it sounds so much better coming from this stupid thing, but Whatever. We'll figure it out. All right. And do the thing. Okay. All right, well, let's do the fact of the show and get out of here. I gotta find it again. Disneyland does fireworks unlike any other theme park in the world. Launched backstage from pneumatic air cannons. These cleaner and technologically superior fireworks are detonated from the air by an onboard computer to make sure that the explosions match the music every time. The technology utilized here is actually the same technology that the military uses to launch submarine missiles.
Jeez.
Right? Toontown closes for every fireworks show because it collects the fireworks fallout. While this is mostly an uneventful affair, Disney is always ready, not occasionally always, but always ready with fire hoses, spare paint, and a few other supplies to put out the occasional fire.
Spare paint?
I guess in case something lands on a
Just
building and
Oh,
whatever.
right,
Yeah,
right.
No, that's kind of cool.
Paint puts out fire pretty good. You should try it.
It's down. $50
You shouldn't say
extinguisher.
stuff like that to me.
You're right.
Terrence, I tried your idea. It hurt.
So does
Didn't
gas. What
work.
else?
Remember Michael Jackson and the Pepsi thing?
Oh, goodness.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. Catch us. I don't know. Do the things. I don't know. It's been a long show. We'll see you in the parks.
It's the shortest show we've done.
It might be. I don't know. I have a lot of editing to do. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You're not wrong.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah, find us online and be our friend. All right, bye.